Hey Kim Folk, it's Pamela Grace without the space here. Hope you're doing well. This week's been pretty stressful, and I don't really know how things will shake out for something that I'm excited about. But I'm waiting in crazy anticipation. And so I've been trying my best to keep myself busy this week and just try not to focus my energy on this thing that I really want. And, I'd say overall I did pretty okay this week. But when I was strictly keto, I found myself getting super frustrated about the prep time. And I used to do prep time like pre-keto, like when I would do like paleo and all that kind of, and other type of meal plans. Just over time, you get really tired of spending, 2 to 3 hours cooking. Because, you probably really spend an hour and a half cooking. Because that includes, the chopping and putting things in the oven and or the stove. But then, I don't have a dishwasher at the current place that I'm at. And so then I'd have to hand wash, the 30 dishes that I have throughout the week, because I just don't get to them the evening of. I come home and I'm out for the rest of the day. So, in some ways that's my fault, but it's still just a lot of dishes. Even to wash that bowl every night, for whatever reason, I feel it's super tedious. And it's nice to have a dishwasher, but I don't have one. So, when you're done cooking, putting them in their different bowls after washing them from the previous week, and then cleaning up afterwards, whether that's the stove or the oven or whatever, it's a good 3-4 hour, sometimes 5 hour ordeal once a week. And considering I've been working out on Saturdays, it feels like my whole Saturday's gone. And I hate feeling like that. I feel super limited in that, and I know, people say that's the best way to eat. And I would agree. You know what you're putting in your food. When you've portioned it out, how much you're eating of certain things. And that is really great. At the same time, it gets really old, and I can be honest about that. I don't think it's it's not an abomination to be upset at dishes, right? So, anyways, I've been really grateful this week because, even for the last 2 months, I've been going and hanging out with my boo gentleman, and he's been helping me with the washing part, which has been it's taken off a 30-minute ordeal from my plate. I'll cook and put stuff together, and he'll kind of help with the dishes because he has a dishwasher, which is nice. But now that I've added carbs back in, and I'm eating a little more similar to him, we are able to work as a team way much better. We're able to work as a team much better now, and we were able to do everything in 2 hours this past week, which was amazing. And he has this really cool book. It's called Well Fed. It's a paleo book, and basically you take your meats and you cook. He gets smart about it, and he picks one meat really for the week. Sometimes he'll pick 2, but mostly he'll pick 1. 3 pounds of that meat, and he'll saute it with a little onions and a little salt and pepper. And then he picks 3 flavors that he'll use for the week. So he'll prepare those 3 flavors and then split up his meat into 3, put those 3 flavors in them, and then he'll have the vegetables kind of prepped on the side for throughout the week. Because he's the type of dude that he'll cook his stuff, and not even really cook, but he'll saute it before he eats it. For me, I want it all done. I don't want to look at a stove during the week. I want it prepped by Sunday and be done by the next Saturday. And so having that this past week was amazing. He prepared some really, really yummy stuff, and I did not feel bored. Having that variety in that way, really makes it easy to be consistent. That was such a great help this past week as far as getting my meals ready and and just feeling prepared for the week. And I have a confession to make. So I've been really earth conscious, and in a lot of ways I still am, but like I said, I'm fed up with the dishes, so I started resorting to paper plates, not plastic, so maybe that's better, paper plates and Ziploc bags. That's the part that's not so great. So I'll put my foods in Ziploc bags and then throw it away when I'm done, and use the paper plate to warm it up. And that has helped me also not feel as burdened with dishes all week. And I feel good about it. I mean, I feel iffy about it because, yes, it is very wasteful, and I wish there was a way that I could recycle that nasty food residue from the Ziploc bags, but I just can't. So the dishes that I had this week were Indian, which were with beef, a little bit of rice, and eggplant and curry and other spices. Really good. The second one was like a 5 Chinese spice seasoning with bok choy and beef and a little bit of rice. And then the third one was kind of like a taco seasoning, which was the beef, rice, and then tomatoes with some really savory seasonings. And it was cool. I made, on Instagram, I have a picture of a taco, it's kind of like a taco salad, minus the lettuce, because I don't really like lettuce, with some low-carb tortillas and no rice. And that was really good. And I added a little bit of salsa that I had from another, like a little salsa container that I have. And I felt really satiated this week. Somehow my 3 pounds of meat after being cooked and I guess drained ended up being, instead of 6 servings, because I was trying to make 6 servings so they would last me till Saturday, it only made 5. I was hoping each serving would be around 8 ounces, but since it only ended up being 5 instead of 6, it just seemed like each serving was 9 ounces. And that is a lot of meat to eat in one sitting. So I was full. I didn't even want to look at food half the time. So I guess that's a good thing, because then I don't really find myself munching on other things throughout the day. So I'm getting my protein. I've been feeling really consistent about that. Some things that I've missed that I hadn't had in a while were actually Quest bars, and I know that that's iffy in the keto community. At the same time, I know that I'm also trying to hit my protein limits, and when things are happening at work, we have different types of crises. It's like, let me grab a bar really quick because I can't pop anything in the microwave and sit down and eat. So my favorite flavor, which I don't even know how I forgot these existed, is the raspberry white chocolate Quest bars. I feel like I should be feeling bad for eating them, but they're so good. And kombucha has come back full swing. I'm not even really sure where that stands as far as sugar content, because I know that the sugar that's put in kombucha drinks oxidizes and isn't really sugar after a while, but they still put like 7 grams of sugar per serving or whatever it is. But either way, it's not super sweet. It's super delicious to me, super refreshing. My favorites right now are the triple threat, I believe, which I don't know what's in that one off the top of my head. The strawberry drink, and then the raspberry gingerade, I think is what I had. Also this week, found it very interesting that I was even able to do this, because I don't typically fast, but I basically had a frustration fast this week. There was some stuff that went down at work that really ticked me off, and I was just so mad that I couldn't even bring myself to look at food. And so I had just had a Quest bar in the morning and then didn't eat anything all day. And it's funny because it's not something that I would intentionally ever do, but I found it's unintentionally easy for me that day. But what's crazy about it though is like I find myself to be super hangry the next day, which I don't like that effect of it, because it almost seems counterintuitive to fast and then maybe either eat the same amount of calories or double your calories or whatever, because you just are in a place of rage and hunger. So I don't know how I feel about fasting. I've gone back and forth on it. I've even done it, in the day where I just eat later, but I just found myself so ravenous. And when there's nonsense temptation foods around at work, that's sometimes when the cookie monster comes out of me and wants to take it all down. So I don't know where I stand on fasting. I've thought about incorporating more. It happens more naturally on the weekend just because I wake up later, and so I end up eating later naturally, but I'm not super hungry because I'm not awake and active and I guess burning in a way that makes me hungry. But during the work week, when I'm waking up at 5 something every day to either work out or get some work done before work, it's a long time to be moving and shaking before I'm eating around noon or 2 or 3. So, I don't know. The verdict is still out for me on what fasting is. If it happens, it happens, but I'm not sure I'm trying to do that on purpose. I will say, though, I lost 2.5 pounds this past week, and I don't really like to focus. I'm trying really hard not to focus on pounds because the scale gets on my doggone nerves. So maybe that's something that I'll kind of table for once a month or something, just for myself, maybe for you if you want to know. But I've been really excited to see that inches are starting to finally come down in my waist and in my leg and hip area, which is really, really exciting. I do think that, lends itself, one, to me being in my caloric range that I need to be in, as well as starting to lift much heavier. And so I really think that weight training slows progress just because, muscle does not weigh more than fat. Muscle is just more dense than fat. If you have 5 pounds of muscle in your hand versus 5 pounds of fat, the fat's more fluffy and the muscle is very dense and compact together. And so if you're losing some of that fat and gaining some of that muscle, there's just room for there not to be a, drastic decline for some people. I don't think it's the case for everyone, but I think it is the case for me. I'm in for the long haul when it comes to this process. I don't feel discouraged in the process, which is nice. And I am comforted that I'm not super restrictive in what I eat. For people who are doing strict keto, more power to you, especially when you love what you're eating every day. I found myself kind of like Mrs. Cece, just dreading's too powerful of a word, but just feeling like I had to eat certain things and I didn't want to eat certain things. For me, keto just felt too salty and it's just nice to kind of balance that out with other things. So, I don't know how I'm going to be gauging my ketones now because I've actually used my last ketone strip, and I'm sure those are super expensive, and I don't see myself buying any new ones in the near future. Ironically, when I tested my ketones this week, the damn test had an error, so I couldn't even, I think it took too long for blood to come out of my finger. And so my last ketone test has nothing to show for itself. So I can't say that I'll be able to gauge whether I'm in ketosis or not. If someone wants to send me a box of ketone strips, I'll use them and I'll keep track of them. But I don't know if I want to do that. If I want to spend money on those anytime soon. I do feel like I've adapted. Some might say 3 months is too early. But like I've told you guys before, the way my body's responded to insulin and the way my body's shown ketones in the past leads me to believe that I'm still in some form of ketosis. So I'm probably going to keep the title on my video just so that people kind of know that as far as this year goes, ketosis is what started all of this. So just remember, no matter what mistakes you made this week or today or within the last 5 minutes, be kind to yourself, be confident in yourself, and be consistent. I'll see you next week.